There's a stretch of road outside Austin that never really leaves me. It's not marked on any map as dangerous, but if you've ever driven it at night, you'd understand. It's just miles of cracked asphalt, brush crowding the shoulders, and not a single light for what feels like forever. That night, my partner, Marcus, and I were driving home from a friend's party out past Del Valle. It was late, past 2 a.m, the kind of late where the world feels empty, like you're the only ones left awake. We'd left the party with that drowsy, contented feeling, windows cracked for the cool air, radio barely a whisper. No cars behind us, none in front, just the hum of tires and the occasional flicker of wildlife in the brush. Then, in the rear view, Marcus noticed headlights. They were far off at first, but gaining fast. I remember thinking, out here? At this hour? It didn't feel right. The car behind us sped up until its headlights filled our back window. It was so close I could see the outline of a driver, just one person, hunched forward, eyes fixed on us. Marcus gripped the wheel tighter.
What's this guy's problem? There's no one else for miles, and he's riding our bumper.
I kept glancing back, trying to make sense of it. I felt my chest get tight. I told Marcus, just keep going, maybe he'll pass us. But instead, the car jerked out into the other lane and pulled up level with us. The driver rolled his window down, waving something shiny and yelling for us to pull over.
Pull over! Police! Pull over right now!
He flashed a badge, at least I think it was a badge. It caught the headlights just enough to look official, but there were no lights on his car, no markings, nothing.
Should I stop? If he's a cop, we'll be in trouble if we don't.
I grabbed his arm. No, I said, don't stop, please, something's wrong. Real cops don't do this. No lights, no uniform, just a badge? Out here?
Pull over, now! I said pull over. This is your last warning.
I started to cry. I couldn't help it. My mind was racing. What if he was a real cop? But what if he wasn't? I just knew I didn't want to stop for him. Not here.
All right. We'll keep going. If he's really a cop, he'll understand. We'll stop at the next place with people.
We drove in silence, the other car still right beside us, the driver glaring. I kept my eyes forward, counting every mile, every shadow. My hands were numb from clutching my seat.
You're making it worse for yourselves. Pull over or else.
I scanned the darkness for any sign of life. A porch light, a mailbox, anything. But the woods pressed in, swallowing the road. I kept whispering, just a little further, just a little further. Finally, a gas station appeared ahead, its sign flickering in the night. Marcus pulled in fast, tires crunching gravel. The other car hesitated, then sped off into the dark, taillights vanishing. We just sat there breathing hard, watching the taillights disappear. I didn't even think to look for his license plate. I was just glad he was gone. We waited a while, then drove the rest of the way home, windows up, doors locked. Neither of us said much. The silence was thick, but it felt safer than anything else. For days, I replayed the night in my head. I kept wondering if we'd overreacted, if maybe we'd just gotten spooked by nothing. But I couldn't shake the way that man looked at us, the way he tried to force us off the road.
Maybe he was just a jerk. Or maybe he really was a cop and just gave up when we stopped.
But I never really believed that. Something about his eyes, the way he smiled when I started to cry, it wasn't right. It felt like he wanted us scared. A few months went by. Life moved on. I tried to let it go. Then one morning, Marcus walked in with the newspaper, his face pale.
You need to see this. It happened on that road.
The headline was about a man who'd been found tied up in the woods off that same stretch of highway. He'd survived, but his girlfriend hadn't. The story was unspeakable. The man told police a driver, flashing a badge and beeping his horn, made them pull over late at night. He forced them out at gunpoint, tied them to trees, and I can't even repeat what he did. He killed her, made him watch. The police never caught him. The man who survived said the attacker vanished into the brush before dawn, leaving him tied there for hours. Someone found him by accident. I sat at the table shaking. That could have been us. If Marcus had pulled over, if I hadn't begged him not to.
You were right. I should have listened sooner. I'm sorry.
Since then, Marcus never questions me when my gut says something's off. Not about strangers, not about the road, not about anything. We both know how close we came. I don't know if they ever found that man. Maybe he's still out there waiting for someone to trust the wrong badge. Or maybe he moved on. I try not to think about it, but sometimes when I drive that old road, I watch the shadows and wonder. If you ever find yourself alone on a dark road and someone tries to pull you over with nothing but a badge, trust your gut. Sometimes it's the only thing standing between you and something you can never take back. The sun had already dipped behind the horizon when I steered my battered van down that endless stretch of Australian highway. The world outside was turning violet, with nothing but scrub and sky for miles. My eyelids were getting heavy. I'd been driving for hours, chasing the next cheap rest stop. The radio was just static by now, and the only light came from the dashboard glow. I told myself I'd pull over at the next rest area just for a few hours. I needed to sleep before I started seeing things on the road. When the sign finally appeared, a blue square with a faded picnic table, I signaled and eased off the highway. The gravel crunched under my tires as I pulled into the lot. It looked fine enough in daylight, I guess, but at night it felt like a set from some low-budget horror film. No lights, no cars, just the wind and the shadows. I turned off the engine, locked the doors, and shut my curtains tight. My backpack made a decent pillow. I tried to let the silence settle over me, but it was a nervous kind of quiet. I kept telling myself, just sleep, no one's out here. But I couldn't help listening for footsteps, for voices, for anything that didn't belong. At some point, I must have drifted off. The next thing I remember is waking up to pitch black, the kind where you can't tell if your eyes are open or closed. Then, a pounding knock slammed into the side of the van. Heavy, urgent. It rattled the metal and my spine at the same time.
Open up. It's the police.
I shot upright, heart pounding so hard I thought it had burst. I fumbled for my phone, but my hands were shaking too much to even unlock it.
Police. Open up, police. Now.
My mind was racing. I hadn't parked illegally. There were no signs, no tape, nothing. Why would the police be out here? Why no lights? I crept to the back window, barely lifting the curtain. The moon was just bright enough to show a figure standing by the van. He wasn't wearing a uniform. His car was parked nearby. No lights, no markings. That wasn't a cop. Not out here. Not in the middle of nowhere. Not without backup. Not without any lights. I pressed my back against the wall, trying to keep my breath quiet. My mind was screaming at me to do something, anything, but I was frozen. I forced myself to shout as loud as I could. "Get away! I have a gun and I'm calling the police on the radio!" There was a pause. I watched the silhouette step back, then turn toward the car. That's when I saw another shadow, someone else crawling out from the bushes. They both got into the car. No headlights. The engine started up, and they rolled away into the dark, gravel crunching softer and softer until it was gone. I sat there, knees pulled to my chest, waiting for the world to start again. The silence felt even heavier now, like the night was holding its breath. After what felt like forever, I started the van. I didn't care about sleep anymore. I just needed to put distance between me and that place. I drove in the opposite direction, not even sure where I was headed. The highway looked endless, but at least it was empty. After that, I never slept in a rest area unless there were other cars around. Even then, I'd check twice before closing my eyes. Australia's got a history with backpackers, people going missing, stories you hear in hostels. I used to think those were just campfire tales. Now I'm not so sure. I still wonder what those people wanted that night. Maybe I don't want to know. All I know is, I'm here to tell the story, and that's enough for me.